What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for TheLine.com. Let's talk a little Thursday night football here in week 3. As a reminder, everything we do absolutely free, so please go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comment section. What's your best bet for the evening? What do you think is going to happen here between the Giants and the 49ers? If we take a look at how this thing is going to break down, of course, here's our full preview, but you can click our little handy-dandy odds feed right here, and with that, takes you right into all the different ones that you can compare. You can see, I'll do the blended lines, which I like the best, and you can see 10.5 is what we're looking at in favor of the 49ers in this thing. 43.5 all the way to 44.5 still out there in the market. So shop around if you were looking for the total for sure in this one. We're still dealing with a lot of injury news in some of these games, and this is this is nothing different here. On the Giant side of things, no Saquon Barkley, no offensive tackle Andrew Thomas, no left guard in Ben Bredesen, no linebacker in Azeez Ojulari. That is 2 starting offensive linemen and 4 starters overall, including the best playmaker in your whole team in Saquon Barkley. Not good for a team that's already looked pretty poor through the first 2 weeks of the season. Now the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, likely game time decision for them. If you saw, he got beat up a couple of different times in the game. And so with that, we will be looking 90 minutes before game time to see what we are going to get with him. Scroll down here so you can read a little bit along with this preview. Through the first 2 games for the 49ers, team's been really, really good. Number 2 overall DVOA with the 2nd offense and 6th defense, according to that rating system by Pro Football Focus. They're the number 3 team overall with the 8th offense and the 2nd defense. And then if you just look from an efficiency standpoint, and if you look at their advanced statistics on EPA per play type stuff, the offense, number 3 overall EPA per play. The defense, number 3 overall EPA per play against. So it is, look, team's been great. Team's been great so far. On the other hand, you have the New York Football Giants. And listen, they got blown out 40-0 against the Cowboys. Remember in that game got off the rails very quickly, right? I mean, that was a game in which they were driving down to take a 3-0 lead in the game. Like, they were kicking a field goal to go up in the game. It got blocked, returned for a touchdown, and everything just went to hell after that. So it's, you get off your game plan, it's really tough to kind of battle back for all that. Now, what happened against the Cardinals, your guess is as good as mine. Held scoreless in the first half and have to rally back. They still gave up 28 points to the Cardinals, but put up 31 of their own to win the game. If you want the advanced stats, though, on last week, according to the people over at Pro Football Focus, Daniel Jones and what he was able to do in that game, he actually ended up being the 2nd overall graded quarterback of week number 2. But he was doing it against the Cardinals defense, right? And Cardinals defense isn't any good. So I don't think we're really upgrading that performance all that much. Though, listen, there's something to be said for being able to rally and be able to get it done. Now, the question just really becomes, and I'll continue to scroll over here. You can kind of look at these offenses versus defenses stuff. What have we learned about these two teams through 2 weeks of the season? If you look at the 49ers, I mean, back-to-back road games to start the season, which is not good at all. I mean, listen, but they came away with 2 wins. One of which was a very convincing win in week 1 against the Steelers, 30-7, which I guess we found out maybe isn't as great of a win as we thought, considering what we've seen from the Steelers team. But a win is a win is a win on the road to start the season. Certainly one in which the Steelers were getting a bunch of money back, bet on them. And then the Giants, right? I mean, it's like I said, what have we really learned? The game script just out the window in game 1 very, very early. And then you have to flip it again when you get down big to the Cardinals. And you have to rally in the second half. So, I don't necessarily know what we've learned from either one of these teams through 2 weeks, other than the fact that maybe the 49ers are just so good with all their player personnel, it doesn't really matter if one unit doesn't play all that great, the other unit can pick it up, and vice versa, and all of that goes on with everything that they've got from a weapon standpoint. Because anyone that watched any of our preseason content knows I was not the highest on Brock Purdy, right? I just wasn't. And he hasn't been that great so far, if you look at it. And his completion percentage over expected is 19th in the league. You'll hear us reference that a lot, CPOE. His actual completion percentage is lower than Russell Wilson. It's lower than Josh Dobbs. Like, he missed, if you watched the game last week, he missed 3 wide open dudes down the field. Now, might not have gone for scores, but I mean, we're talking like big chunk plays that just completely missed it. And still didn't matter. They still won. They got a little bit of a scare from the Rams, but they still won. And so you start to take a look, and yes, Ayuk is, and I'll scroll some more here. Ayuk's a massive part of this offense, but if he's not able to go tonight, I mean, they're 10.5 point favorites. If he's not able to go tonight, does it really matter? They're probably going to be able to do whatever they want to on the offensive side of the ball anyway. And whether Purdy's good or not, it doesn't really matter. When you have Kittle and you have Debo and you have McCaffrey and you got all these guys coming out of the woodwork, it doesn't really matter all that much. But I think it's pretty easy to see this one being kind of one-way traffic. Maybe some garbage time yards from Daniel Jones. And I mean, that's more of a fantasy play than it is from a betting standpoint. For me, I don't know how much the Giants are going to be able to contribute to a total, so it's a pass for me. I don't want to lay 10.5, because, again, I don't know. We have seen Shanahan, at least in week 1, leave the starters in a blowout game, but does that change now that Ayuk's hurt? Does he, play a little bit more conservative? I don't know. So for me, 49ers team total is the way I'm playing it, over 27.5. You can probably find it even lower if this total continues to crash. I can't imagine a team that's put up 30 in the first 2 weeks can't do so against this defense that has been really terrible. Just hasn't been able to get anything done. And along the way, that leads us to another one, which is the fact that this defense is so bad. It's given up 100-plus rush yards to Tony Pollard, to James Conner. And you can come over here, and if we want to look at Christian McCaffrey, and his rushing total is sitting 77.5, 78.5, depending on whichever one you want to play. But even if McCaffrey doesn't play the whole game, I just can't imagine a world in which he doesn't get to 78 yards, 79 yards, whichever one you want to play. I'm betting the over on that. I'm betting him to be a little bit better than Tony Pollard and James Conner, who were both able to get to this. And again, even if he gets pulled at some point in the fourth quarter, it's likely because he's already gotten to this number. And same deal with the 49ers, in my opinion. If they do call off the dogs, they've likely already cleared that team total. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing here, this is our handy-dandy little prop tool that we have on the lines. You can see right there on the homepage. And then you just type in anybody's name, and it'll show you all the best numbers and best lines and stuff. The other guy that I'm looking at here this week is Matt Breida. So with Saquon out, Breida's going to take over. They're going to at least try to run the ball until it's not possible anymore. And so if you look, 30.5 rushing yards for Breida, it's going to be a 3-headed monster, most likely, with Breida, and Gary Brightwell is another guy. And then they have a rookie named Eric Gray on the roster who might get a carry or two here and there, but I think they're going to go with Breida as like the number one option, at least until he can't be the number one option. He's the veteran. He's the guy that they're likely to turn to carry the mail, at least at the beginning. So with that, we really need 10, if we get 10 carries from him, we get here, right? We just need 10 carries from him in this game. And so I'm going to think he can get 10 carries before they decide to call off the dogs. So or just have to pass every single down, I should say. So we'll go there. And I actually don't mind his receiving yards as well. If you look, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Again, Tons of pressure on a quarterback. Two starting offensive linemen being down. Lots of dump off passes, right? Little quick stuff, screens, all those little things like that. To get to 13 yards, 12 yards, whatever it might be, shouldn't be too much for Breda in this thing. My final play on this game, with that offensive line situation, with there likely to be a case in which they get down, the Giants get down a ton, which means the defensive line knows exactly what play is coming every single time, so they can just pass rush like mad dogs, is Bosa over 0.75 sacks. And the reason it's 0.75, you guys are wondering, you can get a half a sack in a game, but I'll go ahead and go with the over 0.75 for Nick Bosa on the sack percentage as well. Daniel Jones already been sacked 10 times this season, highest sack percentage in the league. He's been pressured on 41 of his 86 dropbacks, and now he's without 2 starting offensive linemen in this game and without Saquon Barkley. So give me the over 0.75 sacks for Nick Bosa as well. Guys, everything we do over on the line's absolutely free, so do appreciate the support. Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, let us know what's going on with you. Up here in this upper right-hand corner, that's our Discord where we're chatting NFL, basketball, golf, whatever, everything over there 24/7, and that is also absolutely free as well. Good luck on all your bets here on Thursday Night Football.